Thanks, everybody, for coming out here to Eldora today. We got a big news conference here with High Limit Racing. I got Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson here with me. First off, I want to give a special thank you to Misha, Jonathan, Tony, everyone at Eldora for being so accommodating with this, everything all week. It's a big deal for our new series to compete on a grand stage like this. To why we're here, we're going to Australia this off season, or well, it's going to be in season down there, December 28th, 29th, and 30th. 100,000 to win, high limit race down there at Perth in Western Australia. It's the richest race in Australian sprint car racing history. And we have 6 high rollers too. These two are 2 of them. Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson, James McFadden, Corey Eliason, Parker Price Miller, and Rico Aber are all confirmed, and maybe some more coming. Brad, since the start of High Limit, this has been part of the vision for you guys about not only growing sprint car racing here in the States, but around the entire globe. How does it feel to kindly see this come to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I think biggest thing is, going to Perth and kind of seeing what they already have established in Australia. It's a marquee venue, and with an awesome staff, great competition, and just to help bring something that's gonna create even a bigger atmosphere and bigger experience for the fans. And I think it's just really rewarding for High Limit to be in that position to be able to bring the richest sprint car race in Australian history. And hopefully the fans will support it. It'll be on FloRacing exclusively live. I think the unique thing about Perth that's really exciting for us is that you'll be able to watch it in America in the morning, and it'll be live in the morning on the East Coast, hopefully around 8 to 9 in the morning. And then obviously Australian fans hopefully will be able to tune in on Flo from the West Coast to the East Coast to kind of see the unique High Limit International event.
Kyle, same question for you, basically. You've never been to Western Australia. You've been down there to Eastern Australia and New Zealand. How does it feel for you to not only take your brand down there, but this High Limit brand?
Yeah, no, I'm excited for the whole thing. I'm excited for the brand of High Limit to get down there. I'm excited for the Australian fans, especially. They're some of the most passionate sprint car fans that I know of. So get to bring ourselves down there, as well as some other high rollers. Get to have a 6-figure race to compete in, and another big event for the fans to go to. Another big 3-day event. So I've not been to Perth, but I've paid attention for the last handful of years, and have really wanted to try and get down there. My life is just a bit hectic, so I'm excited to go there, and probably get to race in front of a different fan base that might not have gone to the Classic or Sydney area. Maybe there'll be some fans that I haven't seen in a while from New Zealand make the trek over. So I think it's all really exciting, and I think with the announcement, I think you'll see a lot of drivers start hopefully announcing that they'll be there too.
So Kyle's never been down there, but you went down this off season, and you had one of the races of the year with Rico and Kylan Williamson. What can fans in America expect out of Perth?
Yeah, I think what's great about Perth, obviously, is it's summertime in Australia. So, it's winter and cold here. So, when drivers are kind of get restless like I was last year, it gives us a place to race. And Perth is just, I kind of, the best way I could describe it is it's in between Eldora and Peevely. Kind of has that same shape. Just a little bit bigger than Peevely and a little smaller than here. So, it seems like you got to be on the wall. It creates a lot of exciting racing, and they do a really good job with their track prep, their overall show. Just even how they push the cars off, their fireworks, just everything. They've elevated to another level. So it's kind of a no-brainer for us to launch this international series at Perth.
Any questions? TJ?
Does High Limit have aspirations of eventually becoming the national touring series of Australia?
I don't know that we 100% have aspirations to do that. I think we want to always be adding to an ecosystem. So I think our goal is to create an international series and add events to not just Australia, but look at New Zealand, Canada, looking at, doing things in the United Kingdom. And, this is just going to take time. So this is kind of our first event that we wanted to launch. We're looking at a 3 to 5 year plan of creating this international series, and how many events, is sustainable, to create this cool, unique thing that'll be, attached to the High Limit brand. So, if we can help the Australian ecosystem with more events, we certainly we'll see how this first one goes and go from there.
Jeremy?
You started with the midweek series with the national series, could be 3 ones, and now you're in Australia. This is happening so fast. Are you guys that far ahead of schedule, or was this plan all along?
I wouldn't say the national series was like from the original inception was a midweek series and trying to work with the World of Outlaws, and obviously when they didn't work with us, we decided that a national series was something that we thought we could do, and Flo was really behind it, and Kyle and I want to grow the sport, so we went ahead and did that. But as soon as we started talking about a national series, we started looking at you're always going to look at growth potential for sprint car racing, and it's not just in the United States. Sprint car racing is popular across the world, and you can see it gaining traction in a lot of different places by where the subscribers are subscribing from. So to give live content to some of these places that don't get to see us live is a goal, is to grow the sport, create awareness, and show them how exciting it is live to see a sprint car race, because quite frankly, I don't think the streaming does it justice. It's a nice way to keep fans engaged, but when you can go live in front of Australian fans and show them something that they've never seen, go to New Zealand and show them something they've never seen, go up into Canada and show them something that they've never seen, it's only creating awareness for sprint car racing, and honestly, it's growing the sport, and that's what Kyle and I are all about.
Yep. 100K Australian or 100K American?
It's Australian dollars. Obviously, when you're in the country, you're gonna use their dollar figure.
Kyle, who are you going to be driving for down there?
I'm not ready to release that yet. We're still kind of working through the details, but I will hopefully be able to kind of get it all ironed out and be able to announce it here in, 2 or 3 weeks or so. But I have not met them before, but from everything that I hear, they've got amazing equipment, great people. So, I'm really excited to kind of get there and get racing with them.
Brad, real quick, I'm kind of curious, how was the process like working with Gavin and his team down in Perth to make it happen so quick?
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, when we were in strategy meetings with Flo and looking at, our 5 and 7 year plan of like how we're gonna, grow High Limit and help grow sprint car racing. We certainly were looking at, international events. And when I went to Perth, it's kind of a no-brainer. Gavin and his crew just, they run a first-class operation. So Gavin, Kyle actually texted when we were racing and was like, we have got to have that's got to be our first big event. It's a no-brainer. Like, the track race is good. They have a fan base. There's cars down there. It's, kind of the easiest place for us to launch. And so Gavin and his team have just, it took a while to like put all the pieces to the puzzle together between Flo and Perth and all of us with High Limit. But they were amazing to work with. They're excited, beyond excited. I think it brings national and worldwide attention that they deserve, because they've been working there for 20 years to build the program that they built. So I think it's just, they're ecstatic that we get to kind of do this together, and it's elevating them, and it's great for High Limit as well.
I don't know if you guys are aware, the 6 guys went down there, are all of them cars down there are able to be shipped over?
Yeah, I think there's a mixed bag, honestly, and I think you're going to see after this announcement, there's many other High Limit drivers putting their deals together, just unconfirmed. So I would suspect that you'll see, another handful of American drivers, whether they're High Limit, World of Outlaws, and then I think you're going to see some Australian drivers that normally wouldn't be racing in Perth come from the East Coast and race in this event. So, hopefully we get the support and the mixed bag of drivers that we're hoping these international events, drive, because I think that's what's exciting for fans, is to see something that's not standard and normal. That's what an international event's supposed to look like. It's supposed to have, a wide variety of talent and different cars and things that'll be unique to this international series.
Australia is definitely known for having some unique formats. Do you guys know any idea of what kind of the race details would look like?
We've discussed, but we don't want to disclose probably the formats yet. I think we'd like to get more defined and in agreement on exactly how we want the event to look. Some of it'll be, once we kind of figure out what the car count's going to look like, that'll help us kind of make some of those decisions.
You might have mentioned it, but are they points paint races?
No, this is just a standalone event. Obviously, it's not going to be tied to high limit United States, like the Kubota High Limit Series. This is a High Limit International Series. This is basically the start of something that we want to grow into eventually that might have a small point system between the international events. But it will be tied to Perth's, long speed week that they kind of have. Obviously they want their drivers competing in all their events. So it will have points for Perth Motorplex.
Obviously, you guys are wide open during the season, thinking about next year and whatnot here. This adds a little more to the mix. Once you get into the offseason, you're going to be focused on a lot of things. Are you concerned a little bit about that? Because, still you're new, you're changing things for next year, I assume, just after this year. Is that something you guys are also thinking about? You guys are going to be wide open nonstop.
Yeah, it's a good question. We have a great staff, obviously, and we're growing, and Flo's super supportive. But I think this event, where it's located, won't affect us at all. Obviously, Perth is going to carry a lot of the weight for the planning up to the event. A lot of us is just support. Obviously, bringing Tony Laporta, Chase Rodman, Mike Hess to run the show, Kyle and myself, and then a few other staff members will come with us. It's a short stint. It's in the middle of the off season when we're not really in the grind of things. So. Right now, I did a lot of the legwork behind the scenes with Perth and with Flo to kind of, get this thing ironed out. So the staff really they've been doing a great job. The high limit staff, they're super focused on, executing events and creating efficiency. And, these bigger events, when we're on a big stage like this, I think they're doing a great job for a first year staff. And they're super focused on, what we're going to do next year. But not only that, but what does it look like, 3 years from now? So, I don't see it affecting us. I see it as being a nice little change of pace, and honestly, a reward for those guys. It'll be somewhat of a vacation and something fun that we can do all together, and they certainly deserve it.
Brad, does this impact the length of your Australian tour for this year compared to like last year? Is it going to be about the same amount of time to be over there?
Yeah, I haven't made like a full decision on how long I'll be there. I know Kyle, I think one thing to, make sure that fans know is Kyle will only be at those 3 races, racing just the high limit because he's committed. He has other commitments. Myself, I'll be there for the high limit races and a little bit longer. And so I think you'll see a mixed bag of what drivers will do. So I think the high limit international event will look unique because I think that'll be the one time that we're really all truly in that one area, doing that. But as far as myself, I don't think I'm going to spend much more time than I did last year. It's kind of a perfect trip for me and my family.
Anyone else?
Is there an official event name?
Yeah, High Limit International Perth. And
The rules in Australia are probably more different than most people realize. Is that you just run to the Australian state?
yeah, exactly. We may add some things that will be unique just to our event, but obviously we don't want to add cost or anything, to the racers in Australia. So we'll certainly be looking at all the Perth rules and anything that is kind of aligned with them is where we'll basically start. And then if we want to change a few small details for the High Limit International event, we have talked about that, but we really haven't made any final decisions on that yet.
7 Plus is huge for Australian sprint car racing to show millions of minutes viewed. Is it strictly going to be on Flow?
It's going to be exclusively live on Flow globally, but then 7 Mate has the rights to show it tape delayed. So, isn't that what you just said? 7 Plus. Yeah, 7 Plus has rights to show it tape delayed. And for any fans that are going to be looking for tickets to this event, there's going to be a link on perthmotorplex.com.au and highlimitracing.com. If you click on it, you'll see there'll be a link that will provide a sign-up page that will then provide you information for the event and then early access to tickets. So those will be going on sale soon, but they're not quite prepared yet to launch the tickets yet.
It's not unexpected for a lot of Americans to come to Australia to race. I know the Classic has even had, I think, even over 20 American drivers. You mentioned that 6 high limit drivers will come to Australia. What makes this event a high limit event other than the name?
Yeah, I think bringing some of our ways of doing things as far as branding, as far as like our officials, our announcers, the way that we run a show. Obviously, we'll have input in the formats. And then obviously we want these international events to have more high limit drivers. I mean, we want, the majority of our drivers to go. And I think if we were a little closer to the event, you'd see that there's probably going to be more like 10 or 12 of them. And I think when you do these international events, you're trying to create, bigger atmosphere and bigger events for places. So we want the best Australian drivers versus the best American drivers, and all we can do as a series or a promotion group is create the biggest promotion that we possibly can, and so we're trying to create something big that, there's never been a 100,000 to win race in Australia. There's never been as big a purse as what we're doing over the course of the 3 nights. So we're just hopeful that obviously when we do big things that we'll get the support and it'll create that extra atmosphere that you see at a weekend like they did here at the Kings Royal or how they built the Knoxville Nationals. And obviously we want to keep building these events not only in America but across the world.